You know what? I just went and double checked, and it has been over a year since we found out what's in that pile.
What's in that pile?
I think I've actually even reorganized this pile at least twice since the last episode. Been hardcore focused on the eating trees and especially tree ice cream series, and I am working on the next tree ice cream episode right now. It's one I'm very excited about, but today just felt like time to dive into the pile. This could be really cool. It's from the same like stump of willow wood that I made a vase from in a video that a lot of you probably saw. I think it's one of my top performing YouTube shorts ever. I will say I'm feeling a little lazy. I don't want to dig to the bottom of the pile. I'm feeling top of pile. Yeah. I'm feeling top of pile. And this right here, this is a piece of quaking aspen wood. I found this on the side of the road up the canyon near my home. There's bound to be some cool stuff hiding in here, and this just feels like it wants to be kind of like a platter. And in fact, I think I know exactly what I want this platter to do.
Now, this probably won't come as a surprise to many of you, but in addition to being a big tree nerd, I'm also super into birds. And I think this log will make a perfect bird feeding tray to help me with one of my goals for this year, befriending one of my favorite species of bird, the scrub jay. These guys are wily, mischievous, they always look a little annoyed. I'm just a big fan.
Okay, so I tried to kind of flatten some of this out, but this just wants to sit at this kind of angle. I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal. I'm gonna just screw this in as best I can. You know, rely heavily on the tailstock to keep things stable for us. Okay, let's get this thing on here. This is awfully lopsided, but we'll be okay. Now the objective now is to, come on buddy. There we go, there we go. Okay, so the objective now will be to flatten the bottom, clean up the sides a bit, and this is gonna be the bottom half of the platter, cut in a recess for, to hold on to, flip it around, get the top, finish with a nice, smooth, straight surface. So let's get to cutting.
So we're obviously dealing with a pretty lopsided piece of wood, and I only kind of half-heartedly flattened the surface on the faceplate, so I'm gonna start by turning at a pretty low RPM, cutting slow and steady. Just working on flattening the bottom and bringing in the sides without cutting too much into the top half, because I want to preserve a little bit of the live edge up there if possible. And already I'm really into everything going on inside of this log. I think aspen has such a lovely color to it. The grain looks really nice as well. I'm very excited about what we're uncovering so far. Okay, now just carving the recess into the bottom so I can flip this whole thing around and cut into the top. Going with the larger chuck here just to give us more surface area to hold on to.
I'm going to have to kind of come in like this to avoid having some hole marks in the middle. So we could end up losing all of this live edge, and if so, that's just what's gonna happen. And I'm not too worried about it. The upside is I think we'll still have some cool looking grain no matter what we do, so. Yeah, I think I'm gonna throw the tailstock back on. because we're now much less secure than we were before, where a screwed in faceplate was holding the piece on to the lathe. A pretty secure way to hang on to it. Got this nice wide surface area jaw chuck on here, so there's a lot holding onto the piece, so it should be pretty stable, but you know, with an uneven piece like this, for these first few cuts at least, doesn't hurt to throw the tailstock back on. Just give us that extra bit of stability here. One thing to know, when you're turning, especially a section like this where I'm cutting into a lot of air, right? Like I'm only making a cut here, and all this void area I'm cutting into essentially nothing. It helps to look at the top of the piece. So far it is feeling pretty secure on here. There's the upside.
And now here comes the fun part. Once again, just starting nice and slow, peeling back those rough top layers. And again, being especially careful on the edges, because if I cut too much off out there, then I'm gonna lose those little branchy areas completely. Now that we're making some good progress on our platter, I'd like to take a moment to give a huge thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Huckberry.
We are well into summertime right now, which is a time of year where I always personally struggle to find clothes and styles that feel right for me. I just feel a little bit more at home in the winter and fall. So this is a time of year where I really appreciate Huckberry, as they are a one-stop shop for high quality, highly curated brands. And as part of that curation, you can find really helpful seasonal style guides and shopping guides on their website and through their newsletter, which helps me find combos I like from brands I trust, like this white t-shirt and chino short combo from Flint and Tinder. I love these shorts. They're high quality. They go with everything. This is kind of an everyday summertime short for me. Marine Layer makes this stretch linen shirt that I absolutely love. I love a good linen shirt in the summertime. They look great. They're breathable. They keep you cool. And this one is just so soft and versatile. Another thing I love is the way they collaborate with different brands to make Huckberry specific gear and clothing. Like, for example, these Huckberry Danner hiking sneakers, which are going to be really great for hiking up to forage for wood and ice cream flavors. And I just love the look, the speckled Vibram soles. So click on the link in the description to shop, or head over to huckberry.com to find clothing, gear. They also have a journal with amazing videos and articles. I personally love their newsletter. So again, link in the description to shop, and let's head back over to the lathe and finish up that platter.
Also, great news, the deeper I dig into the middle bowl area, the more curly wood I'm uncovering, which I know you're all stoked to hear about.
I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. Even though the base is a lot chunkier than I had envisioned, looking at it top down is quite nice. I was able to save a bit more of that live edge than I was concerned I would be able to. We've got some beautiful figure and grain in here. We're gonna get some of your favorite word and mine for sure. So I think all that's left to do now is add some oil and let this stuff pop. Yeah, you know what? I am actually now loving this for our stated purpose, because the natural shape of this log that we were working with kind of creates this back platform, this nice little sloped down entry point for hopefully our bird friends to approach, and then a little nestled bowl. This just goes to show, A, I never know what I'm doing completely, and B, just gotta roll with it and see what happens. I'm gonna go with some of Walrus Oil's cutting board oil, just again, something natural, food safe. It's not gonna impart like any yellow, orange colors to this very blonde wood.
Oh yeah, just look at all that figure starting to show up here. We've got a tiny bit of spalting too. We'll hopefully find out if scrub jays are as into chatoyancy as the rest of us are.
All right, just been letting the oil cure and buff this oil off, and I tell you what, this is what it's all about, really. It feels good to get another episode of What's in That Pile in, because I feel like it really exemplifies what I love to do on this channel, which is being surprised and delighting in discovery. You know, whether that's in eating trees, discovering weird and unusual flavors that you wouldn't think of, natural dyeing, and just grabbing different parts of a tree and throwing it in a pot, and we make our yarns, we knit our patterns. I do think that this series is just the purest expression of what this is all about for me. Grabbing a beat up, dusty old log that I pulled off the mountainside, throwing it on the lathe, and the thrill of discovering what's hiding inside of there. And spalted figured aspen wood is just so underrated, in my opinion. It's so widely available around these parts. A lot of it is just considered trash wood, and just never disappoints as far as I'm concerned.
And here's a closer look at the final platter. Let me know what you think. How do you like the look and feel of what we ended up with here?
Okay, this means it's time to take this and head out to start phase 1 of my long-term goal of befriending a scrub jay. I like to think they're gonna appreciate the aesthetics of this, but only one way to find out. Let's go. There are probably 6 scrub jays I walked past. 2 of them on this telephone pole, 4 of them just flew into these scrub oak right here. Scrub oak, scrub jay. Okay, so a scrub jay just flew over my head into this big curly mountain mahogany tree right behind the camera here. Some peanuts and some wild bird seed mix here. And I'm surrounded by some of my hopeful new friends. And I'm gonna hang out off to the side. Got one scoping it out right up there. He's up on that branch and he's scoping it out. Come on, buddy, it's gonna be okay. They're all around there. There's one right there. They're not yet ready to munch on some of my nuts, but they're thinking about it.
While I was sitting and waiting, I was able to spot a gnatcatcher hunting for lunch in the mountain mahogany tree right behind our plate of goodies, so that was fun. And a few scrub jays did swing by to see what I was up to, always watching, ever curious. After a couple days of attempts, I had to call it after not yet being able to attract a single visitor to my beautiful mobile bird restaurant. But these things take time, this journey's only begun. Well, you know what? We weren't able to convince any scrub jays to eat out of this, but at the very least we have a beautiful platter on our hands. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I've also got some thoughts. I think that the birds weren't too keen on eating off of the ground. I think we should probably elevate this, bring it a few feet off the ground. So I'm thinking of throwing some more wood on the lathe in a future video and building a pedestal to place this on, and perhaps then we can convince some of those birds to come and eat out of our plate. So you tell me. I know this is a bit of a diversion from the eating trees and ice cream episodes, and don't worry, the next video I'm doing will be a new flavor of ice cream that I'm very excited about. But do you want to follow along in my mission to befriend a scrub jay? Let me know in the comment. And in the meantime, I'll make sure to not go quite so long before we find out what's in that pile.